Hello and welcome to REGO-FIX TechChat. My name is David McHenry. I am the Engineering and Technical Manager here at REGO-FIX USA. One of the most common questions we get when training customers on our products, whether it be Power Grip or ER, is where did the series name come from? So let's spend a few minutes and delve into that. So I have a regular ER32 collet chuck. In this case it's an HSK 63. And I have my ER32 collet. But where did the 32 come from is a question that we get quite frequently. And it's really pretty simple. If I take my collet and I drop it into my tool holder, you're going to notice that it stops at a certain point within that collet cavity. Now if I was to take a set of calipers and I was to measure the outside diameter at that point, it's actually 32 millimeters. It's very easy to see where ER32 came from when I can measure it in the tool holder. So all the series numbers from ER8 all the way up through ER50 represent the gauge diameter of that collet. So it makes it nice and easy so you have a general reference value to work from. Now, understanding what the gauge diameter is, as I just described, isn't that complicated. You look at how the collet goes in and how it sits. What gets complicated is when you start talking about whether that collet is a Form A or a Form B type, because it sits in the tool holder differently. A Form B collet is going to sit just like this. It's going to sit up a little bit off of the tool holder face. That distance that it sticks up is relative to how much clamping range it has as it's being pushed down. So as I push the collet down, the slots close and it sits deeper into the tool holder itself. That's not very complicated and we've covered that in the past. But when I go to a Form A type collet, in this case an ERGB collet, it sits totally different within that tool holder. When I drop this one in, well, my extraction groove drops almost all the way down to the face of that tool holder. Why is that? Why is the diameter so much different, or the placement of that gauge diameter so much different than my other collet? Well, Form A collets are made to not have a clamping range, or a very minimal. It's more of a nominal size collet. So it's not made to move a whole lot within that collet cavity. So when you're looking at your ER collets and you're trying to decide which one it might be, you can measure the outside diameter really close to the extraction groove. And it may not be a perfect 32 because it's a Form B type, but it will allow you to make your best guess and pick the right ER series. When it comes to explaining the Power Grip series numbers, it goes right along with the same explanation we use for the ER system. So there is a gauge diameter on each Power Grip collet that's just below the flange on that collet. And in this case, this is a PG-15. So you can guess what that diameter might be just below the head of the collet. It is 15 millimeters. So we kept our naming conventions very, very simple and very common across our ER and our Power Grip line. So it follows the same thing from our PG-6 all the way to PG-32. Those represent the gauge diameters of the collets. So a quick review. ER and then the series represents the series gauge diameter. So ER50 has a 50 millimeter gauge diameter. And the same thing goes for the Power Grip series. It's the gauge diameter of the collet below the head. PG-32, 32 millimeter gauge diameter.